Welcome to Wednesday, March 19th, 2025. This Day Weather Podcast brought to you by ConverseCountyTourism.com. Feel the energy of Converse County. Explore Douglas's railroad heritage, Ayers Natural Bridge, and the Jackalope legend. Glen Rock, both scenic trails, dinosaur history, and small town charm. Plan your visit at ConverseCountyTourism.com. Well, the storms are headed into the plains. The first one is out there and going to cause a lot of problems with winter storm and blizzard conditions across parts of the Midwest. Severe weather out ahead of the storm again. For the Rockies and the High Plains, we are looking at windy, chilly weather today with a few lingering flurries, mainly this morning. But that was quite the storm yesterday, bringing a lot of heavy, wet March snow to some of you, just a little bit to others. But some areas of central and northern Wyoming with these two storms over the last couple of weeks have really picked up some great moisture, but other areas need a lot more. Now we're going to see a fast-moving wave come next. That's going to zip through tomorrow and Friday, bringing mountain snow showers, strong winds on the plains. There will be a few rain and snow showers on the plains. Then we do it all over again, rinse and repeat. Another wave Saturday and Sunday. Again, the results are the same. The high country will catch more snow. You're going to get a few showers in the plains, but you're mainly going to get some gusty winds. So it's going to be a little bit unsettled, but the storms, these waves, won't turn into big ones. Then we see that high pressure ridge next week. Monday through Thursday of next week in many areas will be quite nice. We'll see the colder weather shift into the nation's midsection and the Great Lakes, while the western United States has a nice stretch of weather. However, we're going to see during that time frame a very large trough of low pressure form off the west coast. And that trough is going to get very large, kind of spin around, helping to build that ridge. But then it starts to break up into pieces, and those pieces get ejected eastward into the western United States starting late next week and by next weekend. And that will start up again another active pattern. But it's going to make it a different pattern right at the end of March into early April. Now, ahead of that storm system yesterday, boy, beautiful shot there out of Saratoga of those clouds at sunrise. Then those clouds thickened, got darker and deeper like what we saw yesterday. A rapid change in the weather along and east of the divide after a beautiful start to the morning. And then here's a nice time lapse of the snow shower activity that came into Cheyenne late yesterday afternoon, dropping quickly some very heavy snow shower activity, then clearing out, starting to melt the snow, then only to see the snow come back in again after sundown. And then we saw a lot of wind again on the bottom side of the lows. Again, when the lows go to your north, you're going to get the wind. And again, boy, that I-40 corridor just has been plagued with high wind events with these strong spring storms and another dust storm along Interstate 40, this time west of Albuquerque yesterday. I'm going to start showing surface weather maps. I've gotten several requests to do this. Those maps and the maps that I usually show you are the 500 millibar level, where a lot of the weather is generated at 18,000 feet and then is reflected on the surface. But it's also good to show you where the surface fronts and low pressure systems are, just not the upper levels. Now, this was as of midnight last night, but you can see the deep low forming in the plains over central Kansas now. And along the frontal boundary, you're going to be looking at the cold front sweeping through Texas again, bringing strong winds into here. But you can see where the heavier precipitation overnight and early this morning is with this low. As the low heads off to the northeast, we're going to get a lot of winter weather. So you can see what's reflected on the surface from above. They're similar. So the low over Kansas this morning will race northward into Iowa, then into the upper Midwest over the next 12 to 24 hours, very rapidly. And so we have a wide swath of winter weather conditions right here. The red is a blizzard warning, the pink winter storm warnings, and then we still have winter weather advisories on the backside of the system, but these will mainly expire early in the day today. Strong winds, high fire danger on the bottom side of this. Then as we look at the severe weather threat, Illinois, Indiana there, you can see is in the bullseye for severe weather today, getting into parts of the Great Lakes and all the way down into the south. Now, this outbreak of severe weather today won't be as intense as what we had last week and over the weekend, but nonetheless, there'll be a lot of severe weather with this storm. It's a typical March storm situation. And you can really see it intensifying here on the satellite imagery with the enhancement of the clouds. So this will be a big weather maker over a small area there in the upper Midwest. When we go and take a look at the precipitation forecast for today into tomorrow, you can see the swath of the heavier precipitation here. The next waves coming into the Pacific Northwest start to bring moisture back into that part of the world. This is what the snowfall forecast looks like. So along Interstate 70 and along Interstate 80, you're going to be running into winter storm conditions today and into tonight. Then we start the wave pattern. The next wave comes in tomorrow afternoon. It's, again, not a big system. You can barely really detect it in the flow, but it's going to bring Pacific moisture, drag it through. That'll be followed by the next system that comes in Saturday and Sunday. Notice the placements are pretty similar. So Montana, northern Wyoming, into the Dakotas, southern Canada there, you're going to have the best chance for showers, with the mountains along that path getting the best chance of moisture. Of course, we're going to have wind along the wind corridor areas of Wyoming and into Colorado, into northern New Mexico here as these lows pass to the north. Now, I don't think these will be terrible winds, but nuisance winds nonetheless. The precipitation with those two waves looks like this. Nothing to write home about, but you'll see that the high country will be picking up more snow. Before the week's over, we'll get an updated snowpack map on there for you, as the mountains will pick up some more snow, adding to late season snowpack levels in the northern Rockies. You can see the southwestern United States getting dry again, at least here over the next week. That's what the snowfall looks like with these waves tomorrow and through the weekend. So you can see there's a little bit of shower activity out on the plains, but not very much. Then there's that big high pressure ridge that builds in Monday through Thursday of next week. Notice the jet stream takes a pretty good dip south into the Great Lakes in northeastern United States. So they're going to get unseasonably cold with that wave coming on in while we have a Pacific flow and we start to warm up. So take advantage of Monday through Thursday of next week. This is a very cold, large, and moist low that's going to spin off the west coast during the week next week. It's just going to kind of hang off the coast. It will bring rain into British Columbia, but it's just going to kind of hang there. The longer that low hangs, the more it's going to want to fracture and break off into pieces. And this is something that we've seen before. We'll talk about this later this week. But when these big lows sit off the west coast like this time of year, they send small systems that eject out. So what will happen is by late next week and next weekend, and I think we'll see this as early as Friday. The map I'm showing you here is Saturday, but you can see that here's a low ejecting, here's another low ejecting, and this time of year have a tendency to produce a fair amount of weather as they come off the west coast and through the west. This type of pattern in December or January wouldn't do a lot, but they do a lot more come late March, April, and into early May. So late next week and next weekend is when precipitation chances, at least the chances of it, will return to the western half of the United States again. It could get very wet along the west coast in California with this low as we go out the next 10 to 14 days, something to keep an eye on. Have yourself a good Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow.